Hey, this is Josh with the Ride Out and Culture Exchange B.M.X show. I'm very excited today because when I got to Southern California and I went to Northern California to ride with my brother, I see this giant bike and I'm like, oh my God, is that a Bassett? I'm a kid from the 70s and 80s. I still know all the brands. Now I get to sit down with Bill Hohman, the man behind Bassett, and a lot of the brands from some of our childhood and current B.M.X cruiser life.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, let's jump right in. Like, now we're going to talk about your past in a second. You're not new to B.M.X, but what do you have going on in the world of B.M.X right now? You're very prominent in B.M.X cruiser life, and I'd like to hear about that.
Well, I read a thing on the internet the other day that we don't have any bikes in the track, but that's quite the contrary. I do have 3 riders for us riding in this great country of ours, the United States of America. One of them's here in Southern California. It's Aiden Pearson. Sorry about that. And then we have Eric Shriver up north, and I've known him since he's been 9 years old.
Okay, how old is he now?
He's 40. He's 40, up in the 40s and bald, older than mine.
Okay.
I know he's probably dang near 50. And then we have another guy, Ron Cosson, who rides in Fresno, and Steve Atkinson. I gave him a jersey a while back that is in Georgia.
Okay. You have these guys on cruisers, or they're riding 20s?
Well, yeah, that's all we made was a 24-inch, the Super Menace. I have one over here on the wall.
Okay.
And so we do have the bikes on the tracks. We're getting into the 20-inch aspect of it. B.M.X is making a comeback. And more than likely in the next 6 months or so, you're going to see this fat boy on the track as well. And I'll be riding the bike behind us, this little...
You're going to go out on the track?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now I already know this from things I've read and speaking with you. You used to race.
Yeah, well, I started off, and I'm going to be honest with you, the way that I started was 1974. I was 8 years old, got ready on the cusp of 9. I seen these kids jumping off a park bench at the Tincher Elementary down in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
At that time, I had my cool-ass little Stingray with the tandem bars.
Dude, I had a Stingray.
I know we all did.
Yeah.
And so I attempted to Evel Knievel the bench. However, all I remember was laughing on the way down. Got knocked out for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
So the next thing I remember was my mom was pissed, threw my bike over the fence, and I went off to the ICU because I got knocked out and seriously.
That was the beginning of your racing career?
and most people would have quit, but I like the pain. So it just went there, and then I started riding. In 78 is when I actually started racing over at Ascot. I would ride my bike 10 miles from my house in Carson. I lived with my dad at the time.
Okay.
I'd ride to Ascot and come back, and usually I'd win out there. Ascot probably was the first track I ever rode at. And then
it was a lot of people's first. It was the Southern California first track,
it was
right?
The premier track. And then I ran the track in Orla Park in Southern California for R.A.C.E Racing. I met my boys over there, Rod Beckering, rest his soul, and Rob Lynch. They're all good friends of mine that are no longer around. Scott was my best man at my wedding.
Really? So So you were a team rider.
For S.E.
And Scott, S.E., the S. So the S.E. Scott was your best man at your wedding.
And he also mentored me in the, not a lot of people know this about the relationship I have with Scott, but he mentored me on the B.M.X. I mean, the manufacturing side, the design side of it. Even though Mike Devitt was like the king of design, and I get it, Mike's the man. Mike Devitt is, the man. But Scott is the visionary. That's another guy that I miss. Scott.
Yeah, he's came up in Noah's video as well.
Started coming up with Scott Breithaupt. Now, he made a huge impression on my life.
He's SE.
He is SE.
He actually is SE.
Scott Enterprise.
Not SE Racing, not SE the team, not SE the company. He is SE.
He's what did all the founding stuff. I mean, he is that guy. Out of everybody I've met in my life, Scott Breithaupt's the most talented person I've ever met.
Really?
Absolutely, on numerous levels. That guy has been to the bottom to the top like 3-4 times over, all the way to the top. Not halfway up the hill, all the way to the top, and not halfway down the hill, all the way to the bottom. So he being around him was like being around, a transformer on on a wire pole. He was just electrified.
And seems like everyone that crossed his path just, I mean, they have the other stories when he wasn't his best, but everyone just loved the guy when the love was there to be given out, right?
You know, no one, the negativity, whatever. I mean, that the only thing that I see with Scott is the positive nature of Scott.
Good. Okay.
And his son still does some of the marketing for Scott Jr. does. And we're having a show here June 6th.
Okay.
By the way, second grand opening. Well, not a grand opening, second annual. So Scott will be out here along with some other pros. And if I can mention a few, Eddie Fiola, I know he said he'd come.
Sure.
Perry put it on the calendar. Eddie King may show up depending on health. I know the Zirzo brothers are going to be here. Ward and Paul Bass are going to be here. Probably John from Technique.
And all your bikes will be on display.
Absolutely.
The shop will be on display.
And other manufacturers. Craig Turner will probably be out here with his bike.
Oh, that's Bill Hohman from Bassett was also giving credit to how attractive your bikes are, and he's saying that, like, for the brand crazy riders, these guys aren't at war with each other or saying like, oh, GT, PK, we're, this is better, this is that. Like, you guys have all been around for a long time. Everybody's fairly on the same team, and there's a big enough market for everybody, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, Bill's doing a great job with Bassett there and his technique line, and now he's got his bike shop, which is really cool because people got an avenue to where they could go out there and get build the bike that they want, and Bill is he's on the forefront of doing that. A complete American-made bike, and I go to Bill to get parts. He makes my wheels. I mean, me and Bill work a lot together. People say, "Oh, you guys got a grudge thing?" No, we don't. I love Bill to death. He works his ass off. He's into this 100%.
Oh, well, then it's great to hear you guys are doing wheels together because, that's great, man.
No, we like community involvement.
It's good to hear it. Actually, anyone watching this should know that all these old school guys that are the companies of today, they all know each other. They're all friends. It's not.
There's not a big ass battle like everybody thinks.
There you go. It's not a battle. It's not survival of the fittest.
No. What it is, if it was just us, and I know that we have like the top shelf products. I mean, us and Profile from the East Coast. And they have a good product. It's a differentiation between the two. I mean, they offer good products when we do, and
okay, well here, you know what? I know your products are good, and I know they're beautiful. So what started you making the B.M.X cruisers? Like, when did that hit again, and when did you become Bassett?
Well, that was in 2000. I think it was 2007. A friend of ours, Todd Peterson, he's from Team Swollen in Anaheim. He'd mentioned to me that Paul was getting kind of disappointed with the header division, which Paul Bassett still does own Bassett headers, by the way. And he wanted to start making bikes. So he reached out to me because they knew I did a lot of design for some other companies back in the 80s. And this includes launching the brand Privateer out of the pedal power. So I said, yeah, it sounds good. So we started making the tooling, and it took a few years to launch the product, almost 3 years. And we launched our first cruiser in 2013. So it's like 4 years.
Okay, what's the history of Bassett besides the headers?
Well, Bassett was one of the biggest B.M.X companies back in the 80s. A lot of people say that, that they don't have past knowledge of the Bassett. It was probably just as big as S.E. They also made other brands like Robinson Racing.
They were Robinson?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the Tahoe bikes, the Loop-Tail Tahoes, was basically built by Bassett. They did some work for S&M bikes.
Really? All right. Mm-hmm. Who's also still around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've also become Fit.
Well, Fit is an offshoot brand that Chris has. And,
okay.
I used to sponsor Chris at Pedal Power.
No way, really?
Yeah, we like Chris, Lee Donovan, Ronnie and Richie Anderson rode for us. Dana Griffin, that's another badass rider from Boss, who was no longer with us due to
Boss it's another brand.
Yeah, Boss, and keep in mind that this shop that we launched, Pedal Power, is the original Pedal Power that won the 85 and 88 Grand National Level 1 titles for a shop.
Wow.
So there's a lot of B.M.X nostalgia with the companies that I'm involved with.
Yeah, even with all the B.M.Xers and the rides and the people that I've been interviewing, I didn't realize what in-depth connection of history there is from the 70s, 80s B.M.X to right now. Like, you're basically the same guy.
Well, I mean, take into consideration that again, my best friend was Rob Lynch, and he's no longer around. We were going to relaunch Pedal Power in 2005. It's just that Rob, no offense, lived a little fast.
Okay.
So he
Been
wasn't
there.
he wasn't fit for the deed. So, anyways, in 2005, I know that you all know Everett Rosecrans and Ev show up at the show June 6th.
They don't all know Everett
Now,
Rosecrans. Tell them
I
who
know.
he is.
Well, Everett might be showing up to the show too. He is the man behind Vans, the guy that we used to all go to get our free shoes. All the teams did. He was a brand manager for the race team.
Okay.
So he's got two sons, Kelly and Beetle. They might be here as well, but Everett lives over in Hawaii now.
Okay.
He's dude's like one of the fittest old dudes. He's like your size, bro.
He weighs 140.
I don't know, but he's we're talking on the phone the other day, and I offered to get him out here, but he's coming out for a project for Vans.
Okay, that's great.
I mean, he's a legend. I mean, the guy, like, if you have Scott Breithaupt, I mean, I don't think that anybody can take the heel from Scott, but I'll tell you what, Everett's like maybe a half a step down from Scott, or even on the same level.
He was the man I need Vans man, huh?
Not anymore, but yeah.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time.
Oh, wow. This is great stuff to learn. Let me ask you this. How do you love this resurgence of... Now, there's still track BMX out there. No doubt about that. There's even new brands involved in that compared to the 80s. But
there's a lot.
But what about this culture? And it's not just grown-ups. A lot of people like to say, like, oh, my childhood. But there's lots of young people riding these cruisers. What do you think of this second or new world of BMX that's taking place?
Well, this is something that we needed because most kids, I mean, I know that I'm overweight due to an accident that happened a few years back, and I had to rehab for 2 years. I was involved in a head-on collision.
Ooh.
Most kids today, I mean, you remember us older dudes back in the 70s and 80s. Man, we were gone from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m., and probably half of us were getting an ass whooped by mom because we were home late and missed dinner, but we were gone. We were active. We were...
Yeah.
The kids of the day, they lost that good sense.
We'd spend 3 hours just jumping down the same staircase at the high school across the street.
Or trying to bunny hop up a 4-foot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that it was something that got lost. And to me, the new genre of BMX is like an elitist sport because you need to have X amount of money for a bike. They do sports training, like with the breathing apparatus.
Yeah, it's like Olympics now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is, the X Games and the Olympics, right?
Back in the day, I liked, if you're at a certain track and you had a shitty gate and you wanted to come out, take, for instance, Orange YMCA. I mean, if they would have had the rules now that they had, I mean, we used to come out of lane 1 or 8, and I tell you what, half the guys would be crashing because the first turn was so close.
Well, now for my world of BMX, I never made it to the tracks. Parents had to work too much type of stuff, so it was all on the streets, in the dirt lots.
Yeah.
And I feel like the cruiser world that's taking place now resembles that more than making it to Ascot, which I didn't. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So with these new riders of kids, we actually have a couple street riders ourselves.
Okay.
See, we're not like big like Throne or SC, so we'll sponsor a couple of guys, and it's got to be because of your great-natured attitude and your ability to ride a bike, of course, not just that you win all the time with an attitude that you're going to go online and bash people, because we don't. I'd rather sponsor a guy that gets third than a guy that wins. He's an a-hole.
Yeah, a good person is third. It's better than an a-hole first, right?
So anyway, I have a kid over here, Chino, from the BMX Beaners that we sponsored as a street rider, and a kid. His dad's name's Alan. I forget what his name is. He's going to come working for us. Sorry, I'm
okay.
Bad with names.
You are. I've noticed that.
At any rate, yeah, I'm bad with names.
Yeah, I don't even mean that. I'm just helping them.
These are our factory riders, and you know what? And I love them all, and we take care of them too. And anyway, so with this new riding genre, it's perfect. It gets the kids out of the house. Gets the kids because. See, you release those endorphins. That's where your spirit comes from.
It's adults too, though. Like I've personally seen you and your wife in Northern and Southern California So,
Oh, yeah.
like all the rest of us grown ups, like you're back out there like you were when you were a kid, and you're bringing your
I
girl along now.
I never quit riding. She loves to ride. We even, I want to point out, one time went to, when we were in Tennessee, we rode with the chain gang out there in Memphis. So I mean, it's just not here. We were in Texas and did a ride out. They invited us.
Right.
So these guys, if they invite us to ride out, we'll go. I got a Tahoe and a car rack, in a mobile credit card. The people down there at the 6061, they invite us up to Tahoe. We go to Tahoe.
Yeah.
So it depends on where we like to go on ride outs all over the place.
There's even a guy from Colorado that wrote to us on Facebook in the last episode. He's like, I want to do a ride out here. Like, we
Yeah,
can
it's
go to
not too
Colorado.
I remember I did a Western States tour, and I probably spent almost $2,000 in gas on my Tahoe
Okay.
with the bikes in the back of the rack, and we just went all over the place, and it's great.
Well, you did a ride out tour?
Well, no, I mean, we would go on into certain cities and say, hey, we're here, we'll go for a ride out. I mean, one of the biggest demographically placed Bassett fan club used to be Fresno. It still kind of is Fresno, because now we're getting out. Florida's a big place for us. We haven't been to Florida, but Texas is pretty huge in New York.
Okay.
So,
And I'd also like to point out for people that are interested in Bassett, this is coming from me, not him. They do have a line. You have a less expensive line, because some of your parts are so glamorous and high end. But they do have ones available to those of us who have been sticking to the other brands and stuff. Like, it's not out of reach. Is that correct?
yeah, we have one that's $9.99, and it comes with the Redline flight crank seal bearing hubs. There's a couple other parts that we'd like to upgrade, like the Redline flight. We've got a couple models in here right now. A black, you can see it right here, a black one.
I'll take
The
pictures of
root beer.
those. They'll be
Yeah.
on here. You guys can see them.
So they go from $9.99 all the way up to, you can spend as high as $5,000.
People hold their Bassets, though, because you rarely see used Bassets for sale on the websites. And you notice that?
We've probably, I mean, in all sincerity, the last since 2014 or 2020, we've probably built well into the 4,000 to 5,000 bike range, and it's somewhere in there. And I see that too when people have them for sale. It's like there'll be a few for sale, but yeah, for the bigger majority of it, when people sell them, they hold their retail value, just kind of like Craig's bikes. Craig Turner, he builds a nice bike too. But I mean, you have to offer it, because I mean, you got to consider even though that we're in full force production,
American made. That's a very important aspect of both of these brands.
So the thing is that we're in full swing production. We're still considered, a low quantity. I mean, because we don't have these factories building our bikes when we build them ourselves.
So are you doing limit like 50, 1 through 50, and then people jump on those? Or are you doing a style of bike at a slower rate than a large company that's sending everything to another manufacturer in another country?
Well, no, we have our core models. We have like there's 17 different models, 24. So we got the Superstar, the Star Cruiser, the Ronin, the Super Ronin, the Super Menace, which is aluminum. Then you have the Swooper.
Ooh, I love aluminum.
Yeah, I have one right behind us.
A light
And
bike is a dream. Go on.
We have those, and Technique is actually coming out with an aluminum frame here shortly. I've been trying to get this on the boards. We've been having some issues since December.
Okay.
So we're trying to get through this briar patch per se, and get things moving. Now with this COVID-19, this blown out of proportion virus, which I wish people would maybe not adhere to so much, not to bring that in.
That's not another line of bikes, by the way.
No. That, what? Get
The
out there and ride your
COVID-19
bike.
inch.
No, I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
just like crazy. But with that taken into consideration, we're into full swing, and things are happening. We're getting bikes out.
What brands are under the Bassett brand? Technique is one of them, right?
We own Technique. See, Bassett is basically Paul Bassett and myself is a joint venture between two corporations, and then I acquired a Technique from John Fry, and John Fry still does all the machine work and welding in the cranks, except for this last time. I also have a dear friend of mine in South Korea, the old welder from R.A.C.E Racing, that I've known him for since I've been 15 years old. That helps us out occasionally.
Really?
Oh yeah. So
It's just tied in, huh? Wow.
it takes a joint. I mean, it takes a it's all reciprocal. You know, if Sal calls me up and says, "Hey, I need 40 head tubes for some bikes," I'll just ship him down 40 head tubes because we have JP Machine. I'm sure you heard of that name before. They do our head tubes and bottom brackets.
So let me just let's make this more personal on your end. These brands are brands we all know about. Now they're yours, and I know that you were an engineer somewhere in the middle as an adult, and you've chosen to walk away from that and come back to. They all say your childhood, but in your case, it really is. You came back to your childhood. You're involved in brands that you probably were once just a purchaser of. You know.
Yeah.
So tell me about where this all comes from the heart. You know.
It's funny. I'll tell you the story. When Rob Lynch first bought Pedal Power in 1983, it was just me and him, and I actually traded Woody Itzen my light blue Ripper for his pink Ripper,
Okay.
and I got a pink JT Racing. Had some leathers made. This is 1983 before the pink stuff was out, and I raced Orange YMCA with it. Everybody was calling me names. I don't need to mention.
Yeah, it's like I'm like you wore all pink back that year. That was a whole
that
different.
was 83. No, it was crazy.
Right.
So Rob was going, how can we drum business up? And then Rob was telling me, because I'd race Pro-Am in 17 over X or 18 over X at the time. I think it was 17 actually. So Rob's going, hey, you guys start racing cruiser class. So I rode Rob's Mongoose 2.4, and that thing was just a big bulky piece of crap. But we got to remember, Rob was 6'5".
And that was the cruiser of the day. It wasn't there wasn't a world of cruisers back then.
But there was.
There was.
The Bassett 24 rode like a 20, and I told Rob in 83, hey, if you can get me a Bassett 24, I'll ride a Bassett. But we couldn't find them because at that time they were having their tax issues. And the Bassett 24 rode like a 20. It was on the cutting edge of cruisers.
Okay.
It was badass. Actually, they had Robinson, from what I understand, owed him a little bit of money. So it was John Severance and Chuck Rogers took the back and took a 20-inch because they had a bunch of 20 inches and made it work on a 24. So the chain these were short. No, this bike, the 24.
That's how Sundays are now.
Is a beast. So, but I couldn't find one, so I never rode cruiser. I never raced cruiser in my life. We left that up to Mark Darcy. He was a cruiser rider, and Mark Darcy's going to be here at the show also. And he reached out to me. If he starts racing again, he gets a factory jersey. So more than likely, if you see him on the track, he'll be riding with the factory Bassett jersey.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, man, there's so much has gone into this.
No, I'm telling you,
you're a great speaker.
A lot of people, you know, when I reached out to the community last week, and because of brand bashing, people are brand sensitive. I get it. I'll endorse any company that makes their stuff, regardless of where it's made.
Okay.
Made here, China, whatever.
All right.
I mean, we just make most of our stuff here.
Well, in defense of the ones that send them to China, some people just can't afford high-end bikes, and I'd rather you be on a bike than, be obligated to a bike you can't afford.
Well, our Bassets, they have all Chinese components on it. I mean,
you got to do it.
So
right.
There's a price point, sure.
Now let's just step away for that real quick. Tell me about your new riding history. Were you a 4130 Subway Series rider? Were you a 6061? Where did you start in the new world of riding?
Well, it was actually when we started Bassett that we started getting all these invites, like the B.M.X Goonies, the blockheads out there in the desert. And you guys don't get mad if I miss a few. The 6061 crew up in Tahoe. We've done the 4130 Subway Series ride. Matter of fact, that's where one of my 24 protos got all rusted because it was in the rain. It was one of the 8th year anniversary.
Rain or shine, 4130.
We go with Adam Mark over to the.
All right, here we are at the R.A.C.E B.M.X show. I finally have the opportunity to sit down with Adam Mark.
Now, his rides over in Long Beach, and Modelino had his rides over in Long Beach also. And then we do the Tuesday ride outs here with the Brent Richardson, with the B.M.X Junkies. We do the B.M.X Beaners ride. So it's not so much that we're allocated to any one person or club, that we love all the clubs, and we're riding with all of them. I usually don't. In the cruiser mob, they like us too up in Fresno.
It's great to hear you go on all the rides, man. Like that.
So yeah.
I haven't been on 3 of the ones you mentioned. I have done Blockheads.
And the Chain Gang.
I'm only down
Memphis.
to 2. I haven't done them. Oh, see, I haven't made it to
You
Memphis.
won't make it to Memphis. I mean, you might. If you do, man, I'll go with you.
Hey, before I found rides here in California. I mean, I only had 2 friends that I talked into getting BMX cruisers with me, but we did Philly. I've done DC. I've done San Fran with my brother. Like, I love hitting. There's no better way to see a city you haven't been to than on a bike. And there's no better bike than a BMX cruiser. So tie that together.
Yeah, and that's just our slogan: enjoy the ride, because we use good bearings. I mean, that's our secret. We use good bearings. If you go one of our bikes, you'd understand.
I understand, because there's nothing better than rolling down a hill on good bearings and not having to pedal and passing all the peddlers.
Well, that and our frame construction too, the
Okay.
detail, in the use of materials. Paul does a
Your bikes are just hot looking, man.
fantastic.
They're just good looking,
Thank you.
dope bikes. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we killed it on this one.
I think we did too. And I'm gonna start doing stand up with this guy because I already need some help. So
my new opening act,
yeah,
Bill Hohman.
yeah, we're gonna have just like what's his name, John Candy, and
Yeah, who did Steve Martin? They
There you
did,
go.
right? There's a lot of comics.
Abbott and Costello.
There you go. Well, yeah, then that's almost
Who's on
silent.
first?
Anyone watching? Yeah, no, actually, most people watching this will know that. Who's? Yeah, I don't know who's on first. I think Steve Garvey used to. Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
thank you for
all right.
watching once again. I'm glad to be able to. These are my ride outs. These videos. You guys, if you've been watching from the beginning, you've seen it go all the way from the 4130 inventors, including the guys that took over after
Yeah,
Noah,
Noah.
all the way through to now.
B.M.X.